Hello and welcome to another installment of Dosage of Doctrine. Today I'm with my fellow pastors and we're going to be talking about wisdom in technology use. And so we want to recognize right off the bat that the technology and the internet are wonderful things. They're great tools. I mean, we're on YouTube right now, yeah. And we're talking about theology and wisdom in the home, and we use it as a platform to declare the gospel. So there are many, many good things with technology. But what we want to ask ourselves is there abuse and is there overuse, and how do we defend against that? And so, I mean, we want to recognize that boredom is a gift from God.
Amen.
And in which creativity is spurred on from our souls. We can make art. We can open the Word and study. We can be in prayer, and it can drive us to pray for our neighbors, for our friends, to have conversations with people. All those things can be pushed out of us from boredom, and so those are good things. Mm-hmm. And then we also want to avoid the concentric circles of narcissism that can come from this, in which we just begin to view people as objects for our pleasure or obstacles to our pleasure. And so, David, can you talk to us and inform us on the advantages and then the harms of technology in relationships?
Absolutely, and I thank you so much for what you said. And I think the first thing to say is I fell in love with my beautiful wife, Gwenny, online, and then we transferred to phone calls and then visits, and we're married now. And so I think that's a prime example of where technology can be enhancing to relationships. It can jumpstart a connection that lasts. It also can be a great platform for giving news to people who are in distant states or even countries that you're not going to be able to go see them face to face, or phone calls are too expensive. Where it can start to become detrimental to relationships is when it becomes a replacement of face-to-face engagement. When it becomes that I'd rather be on my phone than talk to my spouse or my children, or my children would rather be on their tablet than tickle or read or play with their dad. That's when we start to lose the ability to both see people as image bearers of God, because we see them as Facebook clips and Twitter comments. And then, of course, we can see how that then also reduces the ability of problem solving, because if we get in an argument online, it's much easier just to close the tablet. And then we can start to do that with our friends and spouses and so on, just trying to close the tablet on the conversation instead of learn how to deal well with them.
Yeah, a couple examples that come to mind just as you're talking about replacement is that we've all been in those situations where maybe you're at dinner with your spouse or with your family, and if the conversation lulls for just a few seconds, the phones come out and you're in your own little world on the screen, and the conversation may never start back up again because now you are being entertained by this replacement. And likewise, in online conflicts, whenever you get into a disagreement with somebody, those can go very ugly very fast. I think we've all experienced that as well, and because there's this dehumanizing effect when we're separated from each other by the internet. And if we practice that kind of interaction and that kind of dehumanizing interchanges through a keyboard, and we do that on a regular basis, how does that start to affect our face-to-face relationship? I think that the answer here has got to be moderation, and it needs to be intentional. 1 Corinthians 6 says that everything is permissible for me, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is permissible, but I will be mastered by nothing. And that is the problem, because there's a lot of data now to show that technology, video games, social media can have a very addictive quality about them, that they'll be specifically designed to give you a hit of dopamine every time you pass a level on this game or you get another like on Facebook. And so our brain chemistry literally becomes wired to want more. And
well said.
As an example of that, my son was given a tablet by his grandparents about a year ago, and we got this tablet and we immediately set it up before we even gave it to him. We had time limits and things like that in place so that it would shut off after an hour or two every day, and we were very intentional about this. But then we had our fourth baby. And we needed him to just be entertained, and so we'll just get all the time limits off, and he would be on that tablet all day if we let him. But what happened was, when he was on that tablet all day, he would go to bed at night depressed. And he's 7 years old, and he would use phrases at bedtime like, "I just feel like something's missing."
Good golly.
And he wasn't seeing us. We weren't having a whole lot of interaction with him. We were so overwhelmed with the baby, and so, but that technology, when it became a replacement, the thing that he thought he wanted did not satisfy. And so that's why we need to be careful. When we come to the dinner table, put your phones away, put your tablets away, set time limits so that these screens aren't just an ever-present reality in your home.
Yes,
That's right.
Well said.
We want to acknowledge that we're, as David said, we're image bearers of God, and we're designed for interaction with others. We're designed to have moments of boredom or seasons of boredom. And so we don't want to run from those things. We want to actually encourage them in our children. Well, thank you for joining us. This has been yet another installment of Dosage of Doctrine, Biblical Theology for Busy Saints.